even with podcasts, I feel like, interviews is very formal.
Yes.
And like, all this behind the scenes chit chat, like people, the things and the pearls that people give you.
Yes.
That's the stuff.
And so for me, I mean, that's how I started this platform. Sorry guys, you overheard our behind the scenes chat. Let's just start this thing, get it started.
He's a hustler, unbreakable, a people's person, and a future billionaire. This is The Hustler's Corner with Sbu Liope, well known to you and I as DJ Sbu.
Guys, I'm sitting with a fully qualified independent medical practitioner. She's currently practicing in Johannesburg, South Africa, graduated with a Bachelor in surgery in... Oh yeah, sorry.
Yes.
You can order in the meantime while I speak to you guys. So, guys, listen. She graduated with a Bachelor in Surgery and Medicine degree at the University of Witswatersrand. That's you. I hate saying vets, because I went to Vets Tech. I'm Afrikaans. They don't sit well with my tongue. Afrikaans. I'm like, hey, why is it still Witwatersrand? But anyway, it is University of Witswatersrand. Oh wow, she graduated in 2015. She's had a passion for paediatrics since medical school, which extends to working with Marotholi Outreach, an organization targeted at preventing malnutrition in children under the ages of 5. She's also the vice president, for Mental Matters, an organization dedicated to the education, the destigmatization of mental illness, as well as the promotion of mental health in youth and society as a whole. At present, she is the health expert for Kotex South Africa, which involves hosting events, attending speaking engagements, inspiring other audiences throughout the country, and writing articles related to encouraging a culture of good menstrual hygiene amongst women of childbearing age. She actively promotes physical and mental wellness on her social media accounts, which extends to beauty, hair, lifestyle. In summary, as stated on her social media bio, she's just a real girl in a big world, tossed by an awesome God to save little people. And guess what? I can attest to that she's so real. We've been having so many conversations off air, and I'm like, wow, you're so real. I really thought you were like these snobbish, stuck-up people. I was like, hey.
I mean, I can be. We can start again. Let's start again. Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my YouTube channel.
And even so, guys, what happened was I came wearing a cap, right? I was wearing this cap. Where are the guys? You guys, this camera. I was wearing a cap. So I'm like, oh wow, she's got such nice locks, I'm like, why didn't you guys tell me? Let me just get
let loose.
Yeah, just shake it, these are them, so that we are both nappy head conversation.
Yes.
Up in this piece. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my doctor, Dr Nokukhanya.
Yes.
Dr Nokukhanya joining us. And it's so amazing because she is a young person. And the resume is already like as big as El Vovo. No, he's my boy. He knows I'm not throwing shade at him. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
We are blessed to have you here.
Thank you so much. Sure.
Sorry.
I'm incredibly blessed and honored that you would even consider me for this kind of a conversation.
I think we're the ones that are blessed because it's a new era, it's a new generation. The internet has like really changed things, and it's getting better by the day. Even though the networks are still very strict in dropping the data, because I always think about other yous and me's who are ekasi, who have got that barrier to access the information and the knowledge because they can't afford data. I went to Zambia the other day. 1 gig is 5 rand. Kenya 1 gig is 9 rand. South Africa 1 gig is 150, guys. That's ridiculous. People can't afford it.
I hope these people are watching. I'm subtweeting you here. Wow, that's incredible. And I think it just goes to show how much of a monopoly South Africa really can become and how we really are taking advantage of a lot of the people who we should be helping. And so I think that's why a lot of the time, for me, everything I do is that. I want to try and give back to the community and help people as much as I can, but empower them from inside out, because I feel if you are empowered on your own, I don't always need to come and give you things. You're self-sustaining, you're fully functional, you can do what you need to do.
I totally agree. And for me, I always like stories like yours because a lot of people out there can relate to you. I say like ubani Nokukhanya, because I want to dwell onto the story so I have context. Then it's easier for us to have any other conversation. But it's very important to know because a lot of people out there, they see you guys doing well on these social pages, and some of them just think you just became like that.
Yes.
Somewhere, you know.
So, Nokukhanya Khanyile, my dad is a Zulu man who was originally, the Khanyile family that I come from is from Newcastle. And then my grandparents moved to Thokoza and Alberton Old location.
Oh, that's my hood, Eguruleni.
Yes.
Well, I'm from Tembisa, but Eguruleni.
Squat.
Sure.
Yes. So my mom is a colored lady. She was raised in Bosmont. So I was always between Bosmont and the south in Alberton and Thokoza. And then... So yes, I was born in the raised in the city of gold. Yellow bone, that's why I'm so yellow.
And freckled as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I then went to primary school and high school, and I think one of the things that I'm lucky about is that I went to a public school. So I went to a public primary school, but when my parents got divorced in the year 2000, I did about a 3-year stint in a private school, and I hated it.
Gopi.
In Florida, I went to St. Catherine's Convent.
Florida,
Yes, in the West Rand.
Yeah.
And I hated it. I was being bullied there. It was very far from my friends and everything I knew. And so I kind of maneuvered my parents around the idea of getting me back to come and stay with my dad. So when I stayed with my dad, I went to Alberton High School, also a government school. And I really
know Alberton High. What's up to Alberton High? What's up, guys?
And I really think I thrived there. I think I found my place. I mean, there were challenges that I experienced there, but I think for the most part, I really am glad that I went back to that school because I did so well, was able to then get into medical school. But again, this country of ours has given us so many opportunities. I was able to get a bursary from the Department of Health in Gauteng. And when they gave me that bursary, basically it's like a contract. So it's a 6-year, they pay for the 6 years of my schooling, provided that I work back those 6 years for them, which is not a problem for me because I always wanted to work in the States and give back, and internship and community service also contributes to that. So yeah, basically I went to Wits, I did my 6 years, I graduated.
Wow, how was it being at Wits?
It was very different.
Between which year and what year were you at Wits?
So I was 2010, and first year 2010, it was the World Cup. Oh my God!
You were chakatuli.
It was literally like, oh no, I'm gonna go to study. I was studying, Mom. But it was so nice because you get to experience just the freedom that university comes with. Because, okay, fine, even if you're staying at home, but when you're there, it was nobody's watching you. You don't and I was that girl, hey, in class, mark the register, ma'am, we have homework. I was that annoying girl.
Yeah.
And now it's like nobody cares. They're like,
yeah,
do your thing.
Yeah.
Don't come to the lecture. As long as you get the minimum requirements, we don't mind. As long as you don't fail your assignments, we don't care. So it was weird. It was a nice experience.
What I want to know is, you've had the benefit of both.
Yeah.
What would you say, or how would you say that helped you in shaping you to become the person that you are, having experienced both worlds?
So I think for me, I think I didn't really get a really good private school experience just because of the fact that all of the bullying was happening, right? So I can't really comment on that, and I feel when I see my other friends who went to private schools and they just say how great it was and it was incredible, I can't really comment on that. But I think one thing for me that I realized about coming from such a large school with so many people, that there's a lot of competition when you're young. Everyone wants to stand out, everyone wants to be at the top, and I'm a type A, so I want things a certain way, I want to excel at everything. So when there's 300 people in your grade, how do you stand out from that? Versus in a primary school, in a public setting, there's so many people, but a private setting, there's only 20 of us. So every single person has the spotlight on them. So it was nice to have to come in between those dynamics. And so I think that's why I flourished in the government school, because it's difficult to say this, but I like the idea of coming above all the circumstances that are around me and just really proving a lot of people wrong, even though that's not my goal. That's just generally what happens just because of the targets that I set for myself. So I enjoyed being in that environment. The friendships I made were incredible, even though like a lot of them have fallen away. You do find, I think, one thing about having such a big school and so many personalities is that your character gets tested, because you want to be a part of the cool kids, man. You want to be a part of the crew. Bunking parties, yeah, you want to be invited, man. But then you realize if you want to get into medical school, there are some choices that you're going to have to make that are not going to be cool. And I was alone a lot of the time. I remember in matric, there were a lot of times where I was on my own. Even though I did have friends, they were always off doing their own thing. And I had different groups of friends that I think really fulfilled different needs. So I had my group of friends who we studied together. Whenever we wanted to go out, we had that group of friends. And you know, some people would be like, oh, you're so unloyal. And I'm like, no, I don't talk about you guys with each other, but different friendship circles serve different purposes. And I think that's one thing I really learned.
But I mean, you strike me as somebody who's very confident. And a lot of the time, but I didn't even get a taste of my suburbs. And I find that as much as there's a lot that, I mean, I benefited and I'm proud of having studied at us, but I do know what we went through, that inferior education that was Bantu education at that time. And I still don't approve with the current education system here. Like, I think it can be improved to be better, to be relevant to Iskatsamanj. What I wanted to say is, a lot of us, when we come and mix with the kids that went to the suburban schools or Model C schools, they are more confident than we are. You even see it in workplaces when we all graduate. They are more confident than we are. I'm 17 in my office in 10 years, to graduate, you know, there's just that confidence. I don't want to call it a problem, but I don't know what it is. Where did you get your confidence?
My mom. So my mom, I think, really was the one person who did not accept some standard anything. And whether she pushed me to that or whether she just kind of quietly let me figure it out on my own, it was always something that was a minimum, you know. Same thing with my dad. Even though he didn't really, when you did badly, he never really said anything or made you feel bad about it, but he really celebrated success, you know. And so for me, it was initially one of those things where, I get airtime and I get nice things whenever I do well. And then I started realizing that at school, you know, people and the teachers really like trust me a little bit more. Even at home, when I would be by aunts and uncles, they would allow me to sit and do my homework. It was like it's like everyone rallied around me. So my confidence, I think, came from everything outside of the professional or the career environment, because my family kind of had a baseline understanding of, this is what is the expectation from you. And so everything that was around me, the events we go to, the family members that we talk to, the things we do as a family, was really rallied around, how do we make you a better person, and how do we make you feel loved in such a way that you're able to really thrive.
You're really blessed, and both parents, right?
Yes.
What was your dad's profession and your mother?
So my dad,
what is,
so at the moment, so my dad has been a comrade from the days. So
fought for the count.
Exactly. So my dad, at the moment, he's the chairperson of SCOPA in Gauteng. So basically, you know, if you guys ever get called in by SCOPA, it's the corruption people, it means you've done something wrong. But basically, he works in the Gauteng provincial legislature. And he's a member of the provincial legislature. And so what I used to do when I was young was, because I was staying with him a lot of the time, my mom was also doing a full-time job, they would like kind of take turns between like babysitting. And so I would go with my dad, I would sit in like committee meetings with the mayor.
Oh wow, that's so dope. That's how I'm bringing up my child. I go to meetings and she's just around.
Exactly.
And I'm like, this is how I want it to be. Business meetings, I want my child to be around. That is so dope.
For me, it was boring, but then as time went on, I started like getting a little bit of tips and a little bit of kind of decorum about how meetings are held and how to address yourself and how to, you know, speak to people of power in a situation like that. So I think that was really helpful, because even though I didn't realize it at the time, it's exactly like you're saying. My dad was implanting those little seeds.
Yes, it might be boring to them, but for the future, it'll make a difference. Oh, that's quite interesting. Your mom?
My mom at the moment works, she does a lot of things. So my mom, I think that's why I get this, do the different things, put your finger in different pies. So her primary...
By the way, that's why you're here, because you're a hustler, number one. Number two, because you're not just any hustler. You're a hustler that gives back. I'm a hustler that gives back. So real recognizes real. And I was like, no, she's got to come to the show and inspire our people.
Thank you. So my mom primarily works in human resources. So she works at one of the banking firms in South Africa. So she works in their HR department, mostly in the transformative sector. So either with gender or race. And she empowers people and teaches programs in order to allow that. She also does something called the Living Values Program, where she says, what are the values that your business wants to align with? And then how do we implement those values in your practice? And then she also works and does a lot of work with the Black Management Forum, which she's now pulled me into.
Yeah.
And she works with their Young Professional Development Program. So they basically take young graduates in any sector. You could be in medicine, agriculture, anything, whatever it is. And they put you through a 9-month or 10-month rigorous training program where you put into teams, you're assigned a task, and you have to implement that. And thank you, food. And then we basically have to go through, different tasks. They give you tools, presentation skills, thank you, how to make a presentation, how to deliver a presentation. What do you say, what do you do when a Thank you so much. What do you say? What do you do when you have conflict in your team, conflict when you're facing and dealing with other people? So my mom is insane when it comes to that, and she just has the energy. So everyone always asks me, how am I such a morning person? My mom is more of a morning person than I am.
Wow, yeah.
Like, she wakes up 4 o'clock in the morning and she's like good to go. I'm just like, get awake. Yeah, so that's
wow. And then the giving back part. I was inspired by just where I come from, and when I got to YFM, at the time there was a gentleman, may soul rest in peace, Ukabzela. He was a DJ at YFM, and DJ Fresh had his foundation, the DJ Fresh Foundation. They were giving back quite a lot, and I, as a newbie at YFM, who was not on air at the time, I just used to be those guys who hang around, and I'm waiting for my situation. They always say, just get your 1 foot in.
Yes.
And just be around there in that peppermint.
Yes.
Until an opportunity opens and then you're in. So I was one of those guys. And I used to monitor Fresh a lot. And I used to watch Kabzel and what they were doing. And then I was like, I'm going to model my career. I love what these guys are doing. I'm going to model my career around these guys. So over the years, then that's what I've been able to do in forming a foundation and doing a lot of giving back to young people out there over the years. That's where my inspiration to give back comes from. I don't know, what made you this type of a person that feels you got to be a servant to the people?
So I think it's a couple of things. One, I really strongly believe that the purpose that God has for me is to be a servant of the people. And so I think that he's using the talents and the things that I have in order for me to give back. So health is one of those ways, but also just educating and empowering people from within to be able to do what it is they need to do. My mom and my dad have always been public servants. So I think it's been a culture that I've been seeing when I grew up. They were always involved in the church, or my father in the ANC with community programs. So for me, it just naturally, I grew up with that spirit. When I then became a medical doctor, it was because I, number one, didn't want to be bored, because I get bored very easily.
Yeah.
But secondly, because I had this inherent feeling that I wanted to give back, I just didn't know how. Like, what does it look like? And I think it was great that I started off in medicine and then was led into all of these things. So I trusted my gut. If I look at something like mental matters that I do, there's this incredible human being by the name of Gugu Masondo who started this initial program. So she suffers from mental illness, and she was in and out of institutions. And basically what happened was she decided she just wants to have a program. Everyone will come, they will have health professionals who will be able to address all of these myths. And I was one of them.
Oh, wow.
She called to the first one.
Yeah.
And since that first one, I saw the impact that it had on her. I saw the impact it had on the people that were at the event, and I was like, this is something we have to do.
Yeah.
And so we initially started last year in 2018, yeah. And now we've had 5 events, even one going to Durban. And just being able to speak to people where they are, having them have the ability to speak to me as a healthcare professional, but also as people either affected with or affected by mental illness, is incredible, because I've been able to open my mind as a practitioner to say, when I give you a prescription, what does that prescription or what does that medication mean for you? It helps me become a better doctor, because then I can help more people in a more efficient way. Even when I look at Marotholi Outreach, malnutrition is such a huge problem in the country because of our socioeconomics. So how do I make it easy for a mom who is alone? I mean, the scourge of single mothers in our country is horrible. You have, and not to say men are trash, but you have families who are broken apart by choices that people make. So how do I empower a woman to say, okay, even if I have to do this on my own, I have a support system in the form of my local clinic, my doctor, myself. How can I give my child the best nutrition? Because if they are not healthy and they don't have nutrition, they can't become smart. They can't really focus on their school if they're hungry. If they don't focus on school, they don't get good marks. They're not able to get into university. They're not able to get bursaries like I did. So if I start now with these small little steps, even if it's one life for me, that's more than enough.
You're a doctor, that's your professional career. There's Marotholi, there's mental matters, Kotex.
Yes. So I love the idea of working with Kotex. My big passion is empowering people who either cannot advocate for themselves or don't even know that they need to advocate for themselves. So Marotholi is one of those things where I could advocate for people, because children don't know what they need. They just want everything and they take it, So we need to give them the right things. Kotex, for me, they are half the population in this world is female. But you have an issue like menstrual hygiene, where women are being told that they are not equal to men when they are on their periods. They are unable to function, they have pain, they have significant illnesses that are associated with that. That can be prevented. So how do I, as a medical professional, using the information I have, empower women to say, period or not, she can? Because it does not mean that your period should stop you or hamper you from being exactly the person that you want to be, let alone the person that you need to be every day. And that's why I love working with Kotex, either through writing articles. I mean, we've done articles about endometriosis, which so many women don't even know they have, but it affects them every day. It can affect fertility, it can affect their standard of living, their quality of life. Cervical cancer, which is completely preventable with something like the HPV vaccine. What does that look like? What does that mean? How do I protect my daughter? What do I teach my children? And not just my girl children, but my boy children about discharges and pads and tampons. Because it makes no sense for me to separate those issues when a man also gets affected by a sexually transmitted infection. He also gets affected by something like cervical cancer. So I love the fact that I'm able to use my brain in a way to give back to the community, but at the same time, I'm able to give people information so that they don't ever need to call me and be like, Dr. K, I've got this thing. They already know, Dr. K said this, let me help myself.
That is so incredible.
Thank you.
I was an ambassador for a Cuban project called Masupatsela. Basically, South Africa sends its medical students to Cuba, and they go there, they learn to become doctors. And I found out a lot of these doctors, when they come back home with these amazing skills, they'd probably just be in, they'd practice for like a year or two, and they'd leave the government sector and go to the private sector because they kind of feel there's no money there. Or some of them even leave the country where we're getting a shortage of doctors. And I'm sure you know about that information. I guess you guys become doctors because you care about serving and the well-being of your community and where you come from for the people. Young as you are and being involved in all these programs, how are you going to ensure that you stay longer as a servant, but at the same time not being negatively influenced by having to go make money? Or how do you balance the two? Because we all want to make money.
I think for me, again, it's the fact that I know God has this purpose for me and I can't describe it. I don't know what it looks like. I just know it's there. So I know that if I move into private, I'm going to be making it a move right now that I can't necessarily sustain. For me, it feels like there's so much more I need to do in the government sector because people they're like not able to sustain their mental health in the government sector because of burnout. So I feel like if I can give them an example of someone who's in the same sector you're in, who's going through exactly the same hours that you're working, through the same challenges. Yes, it's hard. Yes, I take strain, but I'm able to do it every day, knowing what it is that I'm doing for the community and giving back. And not making excuses. Saying in the space that I'm working with, yes, there are resource limitations, but I am here right now and I'm going to give my patients the best of my time. That for me is what I feel like is my purpose right now. That can change. But I feel like too many times I've been in situations where I've been very positive on the outlook. Everyone else around me is just like, the hours and the workload and the resources. And absorb that energy and then I let it affect me. And then I just have to say to myself, you know what? No. I am here to serve. I know why I'm here. I know what I want to do. And I need to focus on that, irrespective of what other people want to do. But what nobody tells you is that you will be alone. You will be alone. There will be people who will try to sabotage you. There will be people who say completely true things about you.
Tell them. There's your camera.
So you will be alone. There will be people who will say things about you. And while they are true, they manipulate them in such a way that makes it seem like a negative thing. So for example, I would do a 30-hour call. I'm exhausted and I just need an hour's nap to go and sleep so that I can come back and work with my patients. People will then twist that and say, Khanya, why are you not seeing your patients? You haven't done all the work that you're supposed to do. Not realizing that I've just come from a 30-hour call. You know I'm exhausted, I'm tired. And now they get reported to the seniors and everyone gets involved because I just needed to take that hour for myself to recuperate so that I could come back. You know?
Interesting, because my next question was exactly going to be that around the corporate environment, because a lot of you guys hustlers, you might not necessarily be building your own business yet. You probably might just be in a corporate environment, or you just graduated, or you're building a career at some company that has just employed you and given you an opportunity to do so. But then you find that the workplace is not what you thought it was going to be when you're at varsity. And you get to experience a lot of things that may be detrimental to your career if you are, I don't want to call it weak or timid, but if you're not wired, if mentally you're not prepared enough, or probably you don't get good advice from mentors or other people who've walked the path before. And I was going to ask if you've experienced any such. You're already sharing that those are some of the challenges that you're experiencing. But I also find that a lot of youngsters who graduate, they get undermined by the elderly generation that kind of feels, I've been working here for 20 years. Like, what can you tell me? Like, you've just come here, like, what's in Lomtwana type of thing, you know? What are some of the challenges that you experience because of your youth in a professional environment?
So I think because of all young doctors, when we start, we want to save the world. We're going to do everything for every single patient all the time. And so when you get people who've been working in the system 5-6 years, sometimes even 30-40 years, they are already very complacent. They know the system. They know that's not going to happen. So it kind of, you'll lose a lot of energy very quickly. One thing I can say is, if you know why it is that you are there and you know what it is you are there for, medicine is one of those things that will show you your purpose very quickly. Because at 2 o'clock in the morning, there's no, you know, I can just be okay. And you know, you are tired, you are hungry, you are overwhelmed, you have a whole casualty of people to talk to. There are people who need things from you. Some people are disrespecting you. Patients are hitting on you. I mean, I just delivered your baby. Why are you asking me for your number? Anyway, you know, it's just an extremely frustrating environment. And if you don't know why you are there, you will know on your second or third call. So it's one of those things where you have to really understand your purpose. And if you don't, figure it out very quickly. Because your mentors can only help you so much. They can only give you a kind of an idea of what the path can be. They can give you an idea of what the journey might entail. But one of the things that they can't help you and can't save you from is your experience of that journey. So you need to be prepared for any and everything that's going to come with it, and then take a stand and say, am I here for the money, or am I here for the community? Am I here because I want to make a difference? Am I here because I want to become a better doctor? What does a better doctor mean for me? What does a better community servant mean for me? And those are questions that you don't really ever have to think about, because you just finishing. It's med school, then after med school it's internship, then after internship it's ComServe, and then after ComServe you specialize. So everything is already set for you. But in those little big steps, what are the small things that you are doing to make yourself better? And until you answer those questions, you will definitely feel like you're drowning.
I always quote Tony Gaskins when he says, when money is your motive, you will always be lacking. But when purpose is rooted in service, then money chases you. You can't get away from it. I always say to people, I'm a living testimony and an example of that. I've been through so many challenges, but I always believe, because of having given a lot of myself back to so many people over the years, that I always get blessed. Like, even no matter how tough it can be, or whether I can lose a job there, or I can lose opportunities, or I can lose this, I can lose that, I can lose money, God always provides. 18 months later, my life is different. I'm back up again. I'm making money, and I always kind of feel like, wow, God, you're so great to me. You've been so awesome in my life. But then I attribute it to, I give. I give so much of myself. I give so much of my time. How do you balance keeping your own cup overflowing and filling into all these other cups that you always do to, don't you run empty sometimes? And when you do, what keeps you sane? How do you get yourself going? Because I kind of feel people like ourselves who are servants, who love to give ourselves so much to our people, there are a lot of other people who turn to take advantage of that kindness, or other people who are not even appreciative of that they can be bloodsuckers. And there's just other people who don't have the right intentions, because not everybody is like you.
Yeah.
People see the world differently. There's just other people are basile, you know, and they just parasites, you know. But how do you get yourself going in those types of moments? And because I know that space, and I know how draining it can be. How do you manage all of that? You know what I mean? That ecosystem. How do you? I know you're experiencing it already, because I've been for many years. So because you're in the giving space, I do know that just a lot of people see you as the savior.
Yeah.
But then out of those people also, there's others who might just not be as honest or as coming with good intentions of really wanting help.
I think
people basile, you know.
The one thing about my journey that I only now see as a blessing was that I was forced to be alone a lot. So there were a lot of decisions I had to take, either be it I have to study for exams, I can't come out, or I can't come here because my mom wants me to go on this program with young people and some camp and what. I can't come to that party. So because of that, it forced me to be alone a lot. And also because a lot of people moved away from me, because if you give me something to do, I run with it. And I feel like I want to make the best impression possible.
Yeah.
So because of that, you know, a lot of people will fall away, either because they think I'm being too pedantic about it, or because I'm taking this too seriously, or I don't understand why you're even doing this thing, you don't have time, you know. So I lost a lot of people along the way, and so I was alone a lot. And now looking back, that solitude was important because I had to find ways to entertain myself. So, one of the ways that I did it initially was that I would just read things here and there, watch YouTube videos, watch motivational speakers, read books, anything that I could do that kind of kept me going around whatever I was doing. And then studying. When I was in med school, that's all I used to do all the time. So you would find me like on a Tuesday, like studying, on a Thursday, studying, on a Saturday, studying. And then whenever things and events happened in my life, they would fill the gaps. When I started realizing how I loved being alone was when I realized that all of this stuff takes up so much time and space. There's a point where it just feels like it's too much. I want time on my own. And that's when I really found God as a strong, loud voice in my life. I think because of the fact that I love worship, because anyone who knows me knows music is my thing, karaoke, it's my thing, you know, singing in the choir. Worship is the one path that led me straight to God, because anything that I was going through, whether I was happy, whether I was sad, whether I was, you know, mad at someone, I could sing a song and I'd be like, okay, I'm fine, you know, it's okay. I'm not gonna kill somebody today. Jesus, thank you, hallelujah. But when I started realizing, okay, so you shall live, you won't die. What does that mean? Where in the Bible does that? Why would you say something like that? I mean, God, we die all the time. But you're telling me I'm not gonna die forever. What does that mean? So when you go to the word and you understand that, then you realize, oh, okay, I won't die because I shall have eternal life. But then how do I have eternal life now? And then you go into things like purpose. You go into things like you were saying, that you find that if you move out of a place, but it's God who's taking you there, 18 months later, your life is different. Because where God takes you, He provides. God doesn't pay for things He doesn't authorize, you know? And for me, I found that in relationships. When I was like, no, God, I want this person in my life. They must be here. You know, I want to go to this event. I want to go to, like, keep this boyfriend around. God was like, all right, babes, you're on your own, you know, because it's not my purpose for you. And those relationships suffered. And now once I've learned to let go and let God, I realized, I'm actually not alone. He's always there in the back of me here, just here sitting, saying, okay, baby girl, do this. Okay, God, I don't understand why this call is so difficult. He's like, this call is preparing you for the next call. And 100%, if this call is horrible, the next call is better, because I had to go through all the challenges there to make this one easier. Anything that happens in my life, even if it's bad, even if it makes my heart sore, I've learned now to say, okay, God, what's the lesson? What are you trying to teach me? You see, the thing about him is he always brings back something over and over again until you learn it. It's like he comes around the corner, he's like, babes, oh, you don't want to learn this? Okay, it's fine. And then he comes back 2 months later and he's like, right, no, okay, it's fine.
Yeah.
So I think for me, that was the one thing that I found really grounded me, was knowing that no matter what happens, God is here. And if I'm going to try and let other people determine what my life is going to be, I'm definitely going to fail. Because I can, like, sometimes on Monday I'll feel happy, and then on Tuesday, like, I feel like I'm a horrible person. And then I want to have my life defined by people whose moods change all the time. God is consistent. God is all-knowing. He's ever-present. So if I trust in the fact that he is always going to be there, his word is always the same. The Bible has stayed the same for hundreds and thousands of years. So now I can trust in that word. Meditate on that word. I'm not saying everything, applies to me, but I'm saying when I need him, he has come through every single time.
Speaking about that, sticking to spirituality, I want to know, what are some of the routines that you go through for yourself to keep yourself going? Because we're all hustlers, and this question was going to come, and I'm glad that you touched on God. A lot of us, when we are youth, we go astray from God, and a lot of us grow up from families that encourage us to go to church. We go to church because you're forced to, especially black families. But at some point, you become a teenager, like, it's inkonzi yakhe.
Yeah, it's alright.
Mapata, and I was one of those, Nami. And then,
me.
like, I rebelled against the church. I was like, hey.
And me.
At least I'm not alone. And then it's like I got into music, doing well. I became a superstar. Hit records, and just like, I'm kulum zambona.
And me.
And then he shows up somewhere. It's like, okay, yep. And then he reminds you who God is.
Yes.
And then you go through your challenges, you go through humbling experiences, then you lose people, you lose friends. You just think the world is just falling apart, and it's him just being on some, like what you were saying. Like, yo, what's up? Did you really think you can handle this life thing without me?
Oh, you want to do this on your own? Okay, cool, babe. Do you?
You know what I'm saying? And then it clicks. And then because now he's removed all these people and you're going through this, and it's a normal cycle in life, you guys are going to experience it, all the hustlers out there. When you start doing well, there's going to be moments where you're going to have a lot of people around you. You're going to have a lot of friends, everybody wants to hang out with you. And there's going to be moments when you're going through nonsense. Trust me, bazo nyamalala.
Yo.
And the ones who are nyamalaling are not your real friends.
Nope.
And we all go through it. It's a story for everybody. So don't think when it does happen, you're the only one that's going through that. Now, and then I went through the same, where you're alone, you're finding yourself, you're reading books, you're going through this journey, rediscovering yourself, spending time on your own, learning different things. And then things just start changing, especially the more consistent you are in the word and learning about God and praying and being by yourself. You start learning even certain routines on how you can look after yourself, or certain routines that keep you going to become a better hustler. So that every day when you go out there, you are the best you can be. What are some of those things that you do daily, in the morning, maybe, or before you even go to bed? I do know that but what are your routines?
So in the morning, there's always something godly that I do. So it will either be a worship song, it'll either be reading, devotional, depending on my morning, because also God knows me and my sleeping patterns. I really love to sleep, and I press snooze all the time. So I always try to incorporate him as much as I can into my routine. So even if I'm in the shower and I'm listening to some kind of motivational word or YouTube video or some kind of pastor who's speaking about him, I think I try to get that in as the first thing I do, because I am a strong believer in the first thing you see is the rest of your day. It will carry your day. And then in the morning in the car, like, I actually enjoy traffic simply because, like, I get to play music, I get to jam in the car, I get to sing and listen. I don't listen to the news in the morning simply because I feel like I don't want to know what other people are doing. That's my time for me and God. Like, he needs to tune me into what it is I need to do that day. He needs to get me into my zen at that moment. Sometimes it's not even listening to a gospel song. Sometimes I just need to listen to a jam that's going to get me in a mood, that's going to help me tackle the day, you know? When I get to work, it's always, I enjoy working because I get to play with kids the whole day. But at the same time, even when they are really sick, I get to do things that help them become better. And they're the greatest teachers, because you do something and they respond. you know, you change a little thing and they actually do something back. They give back to you. You can see when they're getting better. So even the place that I work now, you know, everyone is so centered into helping this one child be better, you know. So those routines involve, you know, either having tutorials or being really engaged in what it is that I'm doing. And everyone on Instagram follows me knows I do a big good morning. So I either do it on my way to work or when I get to work.
Same here.
Just to say,
good morning,
yeah.
Good morning. I'm a morning person
yes.
too. I'm at the gym at 5 in the morning. Because I believe, like, you're exactly right. How you start your day, it sets it off for the rest of the day. And actually, even how you start your week, my Monday mornings are very important. I can't let anything worry me on a Sunday night or on a Monday morning, because Monday morning nangvuga, and I do my meditations and prayers, and then I hit the gym at 5 in the morning. I'm one of the 5 a.m. clubs, right?
Well done.
And then
you are better than me.
Once my frequency and my energies are high,
yes,
like, who gonna stop me now? Type of thing, you know?
Yeah,
I'm one of those, and I'm glad that. And then at night.
So in the evenings, so I have a personal trainer. His name is Watson. I think Watson is trying to kill me.
Watson, she's got lives
cool.
to change. How?
It's not cool.
Watson,
but one thing I enjoy about
Watson?
training with Watson.
Yeah, Watson.
Watson, hey, no, not that Watson.
I didn't say anything. Anyway.
One thing I enjoy about training with Watson is and I always use training as a metaphor for my spirituality, because there are things that Watson knows I can do that I don't know I can do yet. Same with that God knows I can do, but I don't know I can do it. And even though it's very hard, I always go, Watson, this is hard. And he goes, yeah, but you're doing it. And I'm like, but it's so. And he's like, but you're doing it, you know? And he always stands and he always stands there and he watches me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I've got like 3 more to go. And he's like, I'm waiting. And he waits for me to finish, and then he's like, okay, come, next round or next set that we do. And I always sometimes, like, there's some training sessions where I'm like, yeah, I can do this. Same thing with God. Yeah, God, I got this task. You want me to go and speak to those people? I got this. And there's some where I'm just like, I don't want to do this. I'm not in the mood for you. Don't talk to me. There's some sessions where I just won't say a word to Watson the whole day. He knows whenever he makes me do like functional training and makes me flip tires and stuff, I'm very quiet that day.
Yeah.
But what I enjoy is that I can feel that I'm getting stronger. I can see that I'm getting stronger. And because I can tie the training to my spirituality, I can see a physical version of what is happening in my mind and in my spirit. So I enjoy training. I enjoy yoga because I get to center myself. I get to realize the power of my breath and its control over my body. I spend time with my family and my friends as much as I can. And I really, but again, like, I like spending time on my own. I like chilling with myself and stuff. But it's one of those things where my day is so different depending on whether I'm on call or not, whether I've got exams or not. I try to read as much as I can. Even if it's like an hour, I try to study an hour a day or read an article a day, just so that I'm always keeping myself up to date.
I can tell that you read. You've got a beautiful vocabulary. So, yes. And it's always been like, you got to be a blessing unto others.
Yes.
Just follow your name. It's important, the names that you give to your children. When Nokukhanya, you are the light. Would you say that has influenced you in becoming the person that you are, the name they gave you, your parents?
I am so blessed, and I'm so thankful that my parents gave me that name. Because, you know, everything you speak becomes. And so my parents spoke that over me. They spoke that into me. And I feel like it's so powerful that I'm able to do that and live up to that. And so for me, yes, I definitely believe, and I try as much as I can to be that light, because in my life, all the people in my life know, if I'm not making you better, I don't think that there's a purpose for me in your life. Not because I have to be doing anything, but if I don't motivate you as my friend, or you don't motivate me as my friend to be better, I feel like we need to have a conversation. Every single person in my life is better than me at something, at some point, somehow. And it's always because I want to be better for him. I want to serve him. I want to be the best version of myself for him. So I definitely hope that every day, little by little, I try to live up to my name.
Please make our audiences better. 3 things that you think the young hustlers out there should know about this hustling thing, because we're all hustling on different journeys, different industries.
Yeah.
3 things that you would like to share with them, or on that camera.
Okay. Number 1, trust your gut, because if you are spiritual, it is the Holy Spirit that is speaking to you. If you're not spiritual, you know what is good for you. You know what is bad for you. You just don't want to change your life to listen to that feeling. Your gut is always right, and it will always take you to the places you have to go to. Number 2, I think, is realize who you are in whatever space you're in, because that will change. You will have to change at every point of your life, and that's okay. What's not okay is when you fight and try to be something that other people want you to be. So know who you are and stand for yourself. I always talk about a definition. If you look in the dictionary for a definition of a hat, you know exactly where to find it and what it is. It doesn't change. What are you defined as? And the third thing, I think, is your mind is the strongest force that you can use to conquer anything. If you overcome your mind, it doesn't matter how fat you are, how lazy you are, how poor you are, you can use that as a tool to change your circumstance. I'm not saying it's going to happen today. I'm not saying it's going to happen tomorrow. But even a small change over a long period of time can become incredibly powerful. So listen to that small voice that's in you that says, I'm not okay, and overcome that, and you can do great things.
Not 5, not 10 years. In 20 years, we're going to send you this video. I'd like for you to look at that lens and speak to add 20 years into your life. Mama that time. And you probably might be even having grandkids.
Whoa.
Please speak to your, we're going to send you this video, by the way, because 20 years goes like this.
It does.
Just yesterday, I was 19 years old.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm like, 20 years is gone just like that. Please look at yourself and have a nice, less than a minute conversation with yourself. What would you like to say to Dr Nokukhanya Khanyile, who's like in her 40s, or she's probably 50 or whatever?
Wow, okay. I've never had to think about that. It's always my younger self.
We're going to send you this. Yes.
Okay.
Speak to yourself. You remember there, you are older now.
Nokukhanya, thank you so much for choosing yourself over everything. I think the most powerful thing that you've learned about yourself is the fact that you know who God has called you to be, and you've listened to that. Every step of the way, you have listened to that. I think everything in your life is reminiscence of the power that He's had, of the purpose that He's had, and you've been able to affect and change so many lives. You've changed the world, baby girl. So thank you for being that person, being the light, and never letting anyone dimming it, because you are truly the mother of lights, to give lights to this world. And your children, your grandchildren, and other people's children are alive because of you.
That's amazing. Second last thing quickly, your kids and your grandkids, what would you like to say to them? They're sitting around you watching this.
Number 1, I'm always right. Don't do trash in my house. Don't burn. I'm joking. As your mother, I can only give you the information that I've had based on the experiences I've had. So if I've made mistakes, please understand that the knowledge that I have had is very limited compared to the world that you want me to be a leader in for you. I hope that I've given you the groundwork that you need to be able to go forward and change every aspect of your life to the way that God has intended it to be. And I always hope that you know that I love you insanely. Me and your dad are always going to be here for you. Even if we're not here physically, you can call on us because we've got God on speed dial. And you are the best thing that has ever happened to me. And I cannot thank God for a greater gift than you.
Oh, that's amazing. And what, lastly?
Wow.
Yeah, this is going to be beautiful.
That got me a little bit teary, okay.
I know, it gets people emotional in the crowd.
Yes, yeah,
because
sure.
It's not something they're used to when they're interviewed.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Dr Nokukhanya Khanyile. I'm currently an independent medical practitioner. I'm practicing to hopefully one day be a specialist pediatrician. I also advocate for mental health and mental wellness, menstrual hygiene, as well as young people all over the country. And I have just been hustled by DJ Sbu on the Hustler's Corner.
The Hustler's Corner